Everybody, this is ZeroPoint Module 12. I'm going to be your host today, Cryptoid. We're here today with 60 Clubs and Yashnik. We might have some other guests dropping in later, but we'll see how it goes. Today, we're probably going to just be talking about mining. It might not be as long as usual, but we'll get to the details of mining on Dero or mining Dero, some of the stuff that's going on within the mining community. So first, Yashnik, if you would like to introduce yourself, who you are, what you like to do, anything about yourself.
Yeah, hello. Yashnik here. Been in the crypto space for, I think, over 6 years now. Started mining, obviously, then got into the pools, created a pool for, well, a crypto that's pretty much dead now, but still going. Yeah, started, buying a bunch of hardware. Recently, it's a year and a half ago, I got into the CPUs because of rapid mining and DERO. It was a big push for that. So, yeah, I'm very involved in the community, in the crypto space in general. I know a lot of YouTubers, friends with them. As you know, I hold poker events for, different projects and get some community engagement involved. That's about it.
We'll get to that later too, because I want to talk a little bit about those poker events because those are fun, and I did enjoy those when we had them for Dero. Six, I know you probably introduced yourself a few times on a few of these, but just to let new listeners know who you are.
I'm 60 Clubs. I like to build the apps on Dero, and I am very interested in talking about mining today.
All right. Well, welcome, guys. I appreciate you both being here. So Yashnik, how did you discover Dero? Obviously it wasn't the first crypto that you found, but you've been around for a long time. So what's your experience there?
Well, it's funny because I built myself a gaming rig, with a, brand new 5950X when they came out. And then I was just talking to Rapid Mining somewhere. Could have been a poker tournament. I'm not quite sure. And he mentioned, I asked him, what's good to mine right now in the CPU space? And he mentioned Dero. So I joined the Discord and did some research and got involved with the community. And then I met up with Hanson and Marcel. And we basically together started Community Pools, DERO Community Pools. I was the first to start the nodes. At one point, I think I had 4. I'm down to 2 now, but they're alive and kicking. That's how I got to know Dero.
Right on. And so you mentioned Community Pools. So where do you normally hang out? I mean, I know you're in the main Discord sometimes, but is that your main spot that you hang out in the Community Pools Discord?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually have let's see how many members we got.
Yeah, I know you guys let a pretty big Discord over there and a lot of active people.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Marcel, pretty smart guy. He created some bots in there, and then just a lot of, automations with it. We can interact with members, and it's really good. Pretty well set up.
A lot of chaos in a good way.
Yeah, there's AI bots, and they're doing great.
Yeah, actually, Secret set up a AI bot in the main Discord as well. I don't think anybody really uses it, but it's there.
Yeah. No, it's used for, checking out your hash rate and the amount of Dero you're mining and all sorts of things.
So speaking on that kind of stuff, so obviously you're big into mining. What's your setup like? Are you mostly, you got a bunch of GPU rigs, a bunch of CPU rigs, and a mix of both?
Yeah, a mix of both now. I have 11 1060 Ti's, 2 3080s, all NVIDIA. And then I have 9 5950X CPUs and one 7900X, which I got just 2 days ago. And then I also mine Chia, believe it or not. So I got 275 terabytes of storage. NAS is all over.
Yeah, so you probably don't have any issues with the storage space for Dero nodes, then, right?
No, I don't. Well, I can't. I'm not using the NASs for that because they're full of plots, right?
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's a very impressive amount of storage, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't run nodes locally anymore. I used to. They're all my servers now that I rent out, right? I got one in Germany and one in Virginia, which are part of the community pools.
And that's where your pools are at.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for people to like find your pool specifically, or like the community pools in general, aside from the Discord? Is there like a website or anything?
Yeah, we have a website. We have Twitter, Discord, obviously.
And so, do people just search for DERO Community Pools then, or?
I think if they do a Google search, we're right up there. You check again. Rabbits is.
Yeah, Rabbit comes up pretty high up when you're looking at mining stuff for DERO.
Yeah, but most people, miners in general, they go to mining pool stats, and they'll search DERO, and they'll see our pool is number one.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And it brings it to the website and all that stuff.
So speaking of stats too, so you got a bunch of CPU rigs, you got GPU rigs. What are your thoughts on mining DERO with CPU versus GPU? Is there do you have a preference of the two, or?
Absolutely. CPU is number one for sure. Only because GPUs, well, one, they use a lot more power and you're not getting as much efficiency at all. Unless something's changed with these new GPU miners I've been seeing. But yeah, I just moved into a new house, right? So I need to keep my electricity, well, my load is not that great. So I need to be efficient. So there's ways around that using unminable, to use a certain algo that uses a lot less power. And then you can mine to any coin. I've been trying to get DERO listed on mineable. And I posted that in the DERO channel. Is like, you just need people to request it, and then one day they'll list it for free.
Yeah, that's usually the way it goes with a lot of things. I think some of the people in the community that want these kind of things need to realize you just need to just reach out to those places instead of reaching out to certain people trying to get listed.
Absolutely.
You need people to go to those places and request it, and then those sites will see that they have a bunch of people interested in it, and then they'll list it.
Yeah. And for example, I run some master nodes on the Neoxa blockchain, and yeah, I just requested it, sent the guys an email on Mineable, and a couple of weeks ago they listed it.
Awesome. So,
and I just posted in their Discord, and I guess a bunch of people requested it too, right?
Yeah. So anybody listening, go to Mineable, request.
Yeah.
And so I was going to ask you about power usage, but you kind of already got into it because you actually use quite a bit. So the thing about Astro BWT is that kind of CPU it can compete, right? But CPU and GPU they're fairly equal, right? Like GPU can compete, but I don't have a ton of experience with a lot of GPUs, right? So I just have like my gaming rig and my son's gaming rig, and when we're not using them, I'll just use CPU and GPU mining just because the GPU is extra hash rate. But from what you're telling me,
yeah, in most cases it is, and it's all about the miner, right? Like how efficient is the miner and the developers who made it. And I'm pretty sure it's gotten a lot better because just yesterday Gminer released a DERO GPU miner, and Gminer is huge.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's actually. That gets into some of the other stuff I want to touch on with you. So what software do you tend to use? Do you have any opinions on specific software for mining DERO? Do you have any, things you like, things you don't like about different miners? I'm just barely in it. So I just kind of use whatever I stumble across that someone says they use.
Right. I used, as they came out, right? There's been, I think Uranus was one of them.
Yeah, there's been a ton.
Yeah. Hansen's got one, which is decent for sure. Then there was Astrominer, and that one is the one I used, that my go-to miner for good. But then just the other day I saw DERO Luna.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about that.
It has a lot, like 10% fee, but the hash rate is like 3 times more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so I know that there was an issue, not an issue, but something that came up a long time ago. It probably isn't an issue nowadays. There was somebody who was saying that there was a miner that was out. I don't know which one it was, but all it was doing was reporting a higher hash rate, but it wasn't actually getting hash rate.
Yeah. So in those instances, right, you can see your hash rate through the pool, right?
Right.
And then that tells you exactly what you're getting. In this case, DeroLuna, it does mention if you're not solo mining and you're just, using a pool, you're going to get less. And you see that. And you see the 10% hash rate going to him. But it still makes sense to use it, in my opinion.
Yes. I mean, especially if if you're getting that much more hash rate than that higher fees there. I'm not a huge fan of fees, but I do understand, developers want to be paid for their time. And I just hope that some of the projects that do that over time, just kind of lower the fee after they feel like they've gotten some of their ROI on their time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen that with Astrominer and the others as well.
Yeah, I mean, even a lot of the old, like XM Rig and stuff like that, they had higher fees and then they eventually came down because it becomes competitive at a certain point too, right?
Yeah, the more miners that are using it, you tend to lower your cost.
So DeroLuna is, and you said it just got added to Gminer as well?
Gminer, yeah, added GPU support. And they, by default, are using a new pool that's now on Mining Pool Stats, K1 pool. Yeah, K1 pool.
Cool. That's definitely new stuff I hadn't heard about yet. I did see DeroLuna mentioned, but I wasn't, I'm usually busy with a lot of things, so I just kind of glance over.
That's down the CPU side. I'm not sure, Gminer would have developed it themselves, maybe helped by one of these people. I don't know. But it's a GPU miner. And what Gminer does, they'll pick a pool, whoever reaches out to them, I guess, first, or they're friends with, or whatever. In this case, it's K1 pool. And what that means is when you download the miner and you're going into the config file, by default, it'll have that pool. And you just enter your address, basically. You can change the pool, but the pool needs to support Stratum. When you GPU mine, it's a Stratum protocol. We ourselves don't have that yet. DERO Community Pools, we're looking into it. Because, we don't want to be left behind at the end of the day if these GPU miners just on board on DERO, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Obviously, DERO's popular with CPU miners, but there's also a lot of GPU miners that are just, they seem like they're having a hard time finding profitable things to mine because most things that can be mined with GPU, ASICs usually get involved or FPGAs get involved pretty quick.
Absolutely. Oh, I forgot to mention, I do have a KS1 ASIC, which is Caspa.
Oh, yeah. That is it one of those? I think I've seen those. They're like a little box, kind of like a NUC size.
No, this is a big box. That sounds like a jet plane.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those. It's not really running right now, but yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah. So it uses the Caspa algorithm, which is heavy hash. Anyway, but you can use unminable, right? And then get any coin in return.
Oh, that's cool. Do you think we might be picking up a lot of hash rate from GPU miners just looking for somewhere to go at some point? I mean, it sounds like we're kind of getting there.
Well, yeah, I mean, just in the last week, on our pool, it skyrocketed, especially on a couple of nodes. And we spoke to that node owner as part of Community Pools, obviously, and he did mention that there's a couple of farms that are jumped on to DERO. They're using his.
And what kind of hash rates are you talking here? Like when you say like a big spike?
So right now, to the top nodes got 25.2 mega hash per second. Second one's 19.9. I was number one for the longest time, and my average hash rate was around 4 or 5. That's it.
Yeah. Once you start talking in like double-digit mega hashes, that's a lot. At least at this point in time.
Yeah. Right now we're at 75. Like a week and a half ago, we were probably around 30-ish. So we've more than doubled because of these GPU miners.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be a trend that keeps going. But at the same time, like you were saying, like doesn't mean CPUs don't work anymore. That's
Just to clear what I said earlier about the Stratum protocol, it's G miner that uses the Stratum protocol. There are other GPU miners that our pool is compatible with.
yeah.
And those are community members we see in the Discord, right?
Yeah, like Astro NV, I know works with a standard node basically. So anything that works with that.
Yeah. So right now, essentially, it's just K1 pool that is Stratum enabled, and they're third right now in hash rate with very little, like 2.34 mega hash.
Yeah, yes, farms definitely jumped on that.
We're yet to see the regular, people sitting idle with their GPUs because of the market, spin up their GPUs and jump on DERO. But again, 2 days ago, Gminer came out. So, we could see an influx at any time, depending on, the market and how DERO's performing.
That's good news and bad news, right? I mean, it's good news because like the hash rate of the network going up is a good thing for security and everything, but it's kind of bad news for anybody who was kind of on the gravy train of getting easy DERO, right?
Exactly.
I have a question to interject with here. Well, think about our other question. I was wondering if you had any or tricks for people that might have some extra cell phones lying around, that something worthwhile that they could do and they can mine some DERO.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have very well documented instructions on people that do that. Do I do it? No.
Is there some specific software?
Yeah, I forget what it was. It's an SDK that you need to install, and then you just run certain code, and then you enter like the pool and everything, and then it just works.
So where's the you said there's documentation on that? Where's the best place for people to find that documentation?
I think in the Community Pools website.
Is there a documentation section on the website then?
Gotta find it and I'll post it in the chat.
And to stay on the mobile mining thing, because mobile mining has been you've been in crypto for quite a while too. Mobile mining's always been something that's like talked about, but never really realistic on most coins. It sounds like mining. I mean, like I know ARM chips in general perform like power wise pretty well with Astro BWT. Do you know if it's feasible for someone to have like a I wouldn't want to say farm, because I just find it far-fetched that anybody would set up an entire mobile mining farm. Yeah, do you think it's a feasible thing that somebody would have like multiple mobile devices actually running and mining, and like it'd be worth their time essentially?
Yeah, I know some people do it and will have like a couple dozen phones, and that's what they do. You get a decent hash rate depending on the phone. Why not, right? Low power. You don't get the same kind of hash rate.
It has a built-in battery backup.
Well, you use USB, USB hubs. You can just plug them into the hub, and that's it. They stay on all the time. I was going to post, one of our node operators actually made a video on how to do that with cell phones. And it's only Android at this time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's going to be hard to jailbreak an iPhone for that kind of thing. But I'll include the links for that in the descriptions for the on Spotify and YouTube, so people can get to those too. Do you have any like suggestions or any tips on how people can get started with mining, like for like noobs or people who want to run their own nodes, or what pools to use?
Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously you want to use DERO Community Pools. Just saying. But no, for any beginner or even anyone for that matter, Rapid Mining's got some really good videos on how to set up your CPU in the BIOS and to change the voltage and the core clock and tweaks that you can make to be a lot more efficient. So out of the box, for example, the 7900X by default, it was like 250 watts when it started mining. And with his help in his video, I got it down to 140, and the hash rate is essentially more because of the other settings.
Yeah, that's night and day as far as power usage.
So yeah, for sure, anybody that's new or wants to learn how to mine DERO, Rapid Mining's the guy.
Yeah, I've actually watched quite a few of his videos. and his ones on Dero are good. Yeah, he's not hard to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which coin. Just search CPU mining in his channel, and you just follow the same settings in the BIOS. Really.
Yeah, and he's not hard to find on YouTube either. His videos they'll pop up. So let's see what else we got here. Do you guys have any? I know you and I talked a little bit about this earlier, and we can get into it now if there's not much else going on. But do you guys have any community events or anything like that going on, or stuff going on in your Discord?
Yeah, right now, actually, we're working on a we do have a swap mechanism in place. It's essentially LTC and BTC Dero, and then we're working on liquidity pool as well. That's what's new with DERO Community Pools.
How does that swap work?
It's Marcel, he's the magician. I wouldn't be able to tell you how it works. Obviously, there is, at the end of the day, always going to be a middleman, and he would need to be trusted, but he's very well known in the community, and he's very well trusted.
Oh, so he's got kind of a bridge going in, it sounds like?
Yeah, exactly. There's others in the community that also have one, I believe. I forget who, but it's similar to that. His is different, though. It's more robust. There's a website up and everything. It's coming. Yeah,
there's multiple solutions I've seen people come up with that so far. There's Bridge, and then there's also been the way that Secret kind of did it, whereas you have both wallets open and they both communicate, and their respective blockchains to do the swap. So that's cool, though. I mean, from my perspective, the more the merrier. As long as people just understand, if you go to some sort of shady website that doesn't look right and you put your keys in it or something, scams are out there. But and bridges in general, obviously, like you said, there's a liquidity pool, so obviously somebody has to hold that liquidity in that scenario. So, but yeah, just common sense, be careful, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he says it's similar to Dero Dex right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. I actually said something with that Ghost Swap. I haven't played with it yet. Have you guys heard of that? 6, maybe?
I haven't
heard of it. Yeah, I haven't dug too deep into it yet, but
yeah, that just popped up like the other day somewhere in the Discord. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know that there's tokens on it and you can swap. I know you can do it right through Ngram too, so it's all done in the contract somehow, but I haven't looked too deep in it yet. But I think you can only swap one token on it right now, so.
Actually, yes, I did see that too in Discord. And I actually grabbed the link and sent it to Marcel. Like, guess what? This guy's doing it too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they work this way.
I don't believe so. From a little bit of reading I have done, I believe you create your own pairs, I'm mistaken. So I think that is kind of a new feature for Dero Dexes.
So you can create your own pairs on liquidity pools, or?
I believe so, yeah.
You just need to, understand the fee structure for whatever pairing. LTC, Bitcoin, for example, you need to understand the fee structure and set it up properly.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't endorsing Ghost Swap. I just heard of it. I heard it pop up.
Well, I mean, people are building on Dero, obviously, so they're continuing to do so too.
Yep, and at the end of the day, it's decentralized. It's a blockchain. Anyone can use it, so anyone could build on it. So, that means the good guys and possibly nefarious actors. So I just don't get involved in trying to back anything where I don't know the people personally. It gets a little dangerous with me being on the team, because if I say something, then people can take that as, oh, he's giving that, and then someone else could do something, and then I look bad.
I think, look, recently, I don't know when Dero Luna came out, but it's pretty new, I think. That and Gminer compatibility is huge for Dero.
So what do you see as like the implications for that? Like, what does that mean in the long run, or what do you see? I guess maybe a better question is, why is that huge? How would you answer that question?
Well, Dero's value more than doubled in a week and a half, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I think in less than a week. So there's something going on there, obviously. And then you have these devs that came out with these better miners. So something's up.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Dero just needs to grow organically, which it is, and it just needs to get the word out, which we are. And it'll just grow naturally, and you'll see hash rate probably go sky high, and the value of Dero might take off as well. Like, that's everyone's hope.
Yeah, hash rate and value they're always interlinked, but
well, they should be.
Not always in the same way. Sometimes hash rate will go up and then value follows. Sometimes value goes up and hash rate follows. Those are probably profit switchers and farms and things like that.
Yeah.
But in general, the harder something is to get, the more quote unquote rare it becomes, even though the blockchain is going to give out as many, going to give a set period of time. But how hard it is to get those blocks changes the game a bit.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different ways of looking at it. Do that. You need to have. If you think the coin's going to grow, people have to take risks too, right?
Oh yeah, I used to do I guess speculative mining all the time back in the day when it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes there was a heyday for a while where just something would come out, and if you just started mining it soon enough, it was worth your time, no matter how long you spent mining it, as long as you got in early enough, right?
Absolutely. Like, I got really lucky with Caspa, for example. I mined it for a week when it first came out, and I had 60,000 Caspa. That was a nice big chunk there.
Yeah. I remember, so Komodo was originally Bitcoin Dark, before they swapped out to Komodo token. But I had caught Bitcoin Dark's launch like a couple hours before it was about to launch, and I had a Bitcoin ASIC at the time, and it was SHA-256. I threw it on there, and I probably should have left it on there for a lot longer than I did, but I only mined it for a couple days, and I ended up with a pretty big chunk of Bitcoin Dark. Forgot about it, and the swap for Komodo happened. I was like, oh, I made a couple $100 an hour almost. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But cool. So I know we really haven't officially talked about it. We were just kind of mentioning in passing. So when you do poker tournaments, but you do it for multiple coins, right?
Yes. I'm involved in multiple projects.
Yeah. Well, what was the last one you did, or you got one coming up?
I did Neoxa, actually. This is the last one. And the next one, I was hoping Dero, in the next month or two. We'll see. I got to talk to Captain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. And definitely whenever you want to get that scheduled or whatever, since we're trying to do a lot more stuff with sharing on, we're doing these ZeroPoints, we're doing some dev talks, and we're trying to do game nights and things like that. It's still in the works. Definitely, keep in contact, and we'll try to get something together and try to make it a nice, fun broadcast for everybody. I know you guys kind of have your own way of doing it anyway, but just let me know, because those always seem to be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any ideas or suggestions on bringing in people or doing it a different way, then by all means let me know and I'll look into it. But
yeah, I'd like to play them, but at the same time, it kind of feels like I shouldn't be playing them because it's for the community. But it might be fun to put a bounty on my own too.
Yeah, you could be a bounty, and at the end of the day, you do what you want with your winnings, right? You can just donate it or choose a different person and say,
that's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
You can just donate it back to the community. That'd be great. I can play for charity. Put a bounty on me.
Absolutely. And for example, Aeon poker tourney back in the day, the CFO played, and he actually finished in 10th, I think, or something. Or wait, no, he won it all. Yeah, he won the whole tournament. And he gave all his winnings, and he picked the 10th.
You said he picked the 10th. Was that the Bubble Boy, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, awesome.
So you picked him and gave it all to him. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that sounds like a fun idea. Maybe I could do that in that case. Waldo did just join, but we covered most of the mining stuff already that we were talking about. But I'm just trying to think if Waldo has any questions or anything, but he just joined. I think he missed most of the conversation to ask questions about. All right, no worries. Anybody else got anything to throw out there and talk about on mining? The most interesting thing for me with mining is the fact that you can do CPU and GPU, so you can build a pretty big farm, but then the power concerns come in with GPU. So to me, the most interesting thing turns into solar, but I don't have a lot of experience with solar and how all that works. So just the versatility, I guess, is what interests me the most, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. I'm renting right now, so I can't throw solar panels on my roof.
I can't afford to.
Yeah, there's always that too.
But I know all kinds of miners have huge farms in the States, and they have solar everywhere, and then they actually sell their hydro off to the like the electrical companies, right, or electricity companies. They actually, it's a really, really good system. Up here in Canada and Ontario, I think there's some kind of plan like that too you can do, but at the end of the day, it's like it costs a lot of money for solar panels, maintenance, and all that.
You guys don't get as much sunlight per day, right? At least during the winter.
I mean, yeah, in the winter for sure, right? It gets dark at 4 in the afternoon, and it stays dark till 8 o'clock or so.
Yeah. Do you think there's I don't know, like to me, I think there's a certain point where if you have free electricity, it's pretty much worth it to mine with anything that you can, right?
Absolutely. Even cheap electricity is, I go for it for sure, 100%. It's when it's high, like Canada, it's a tiered system, at least here in Ontario, but the average is, I don't know, like 14 cents per kilowatt hour. But there's places like in Europe where it's over 30. Like, it's crazy. But even here, it's like, it's not worth it unless you're efficient.
Yeah. And also, I mean, there's also a trade-off with heat too, right? Like if you're super efficient as far as electricity goes, I guess that doesn't really matter. But if you're not as efficient, but you live in an area that gets colder, then maybe you can take some of that heat back and use that as your heating, which is,
Oh, absolutely.
That's something I do to keep my my living room warmer. That's where I keep the gaming rig, is in a big open area like right there. But the problem I've been finding with that though is that the GPU that I have and the CPU I have, and then I actually adjust the power and everything, it doesn't get that hot.
Yeah, I hear you.
So it's like it's a good thing for someone who's not trying to get heat out of it, but I actually don't get heat out of it at all.
Yeah. So for me, for example, I had one all winter in the living room. I had one in the kitchen. But that's before I found I have a rental. I found a box in the furnace room where there was unused circuits there. So I got, a couple of 15 amps and a 20 amp, 240 volt circuits running. And so everything's in the furnace room now. And it's perfect because it's springtime. It's coming in. It's getting warm. So I've just got blowers and I'm just going to blow out the window and that's it. In the winter, I might move them back up. Who knows? We'll see. But I can also, like, I know people that they've cut open their vents and they're using their furnace to push out with the fan to push out the heat from the ASICs generating the heat, right? So you can heat your whole house in the winter quite easily that way.
Yeah, that's actually something I'm very interested in. I think there's the possibility that if you have the right setup with, a mix of solar and the way you capture your heat and the way you can redistribute it, like really, like during the summertime or springtime, whatever, you can just direct that air outside. And then during the winter, just switching it to directional air inside. And you're kind of, you're getting free heat and you're getting coins, right?
Yeah, in my last apartment, for example, I had a tent, a growing tent, basically, for whatever. But anyway, I bought two blowers. One, I needed both. Actually, it was so hot, but it would blow. Both of them would blow out the window. And in the winter, I thought it was going to get colder, and it would, but it didn't. But the plan was so I have a system where there's actually a furnace filter inside this box. It's all part of the system. And you can just blow out into the apartment and then heat for free, right? That apartment, I never used the heat whatsoever.
Yeah, that's perfect. Especially for that size, for an apartment like a those gray tents that you're talking about. I think are usually like 2 feet by 4 feet or so, and then like 6 or 7 feet tall, or however big they would.
Yeah.
That's great to use to heat an apartment.
Oh, it's perfect. This place is different. It's temporary, but it's a house, and the walls aren't very insulated. So
Yeah, I have the same issue where I live. Plus, there's multiple zones, I would call them. Like,
Hmm.
if you have heat in one area, it's not going to radiate through the whole house. It's going to stop in certain spots.
exactly.
Yep, I know the feeling of that one.
So it's our first winter here, and now I know how it works. Next year, I'll be prepared.
Right?
Luckily, I'm just a seeker miner, so because it gets so darn hot here in Florida, I don't think I would be able to run a rig without some type of coolant in it. So I just put a couple extra fans on my devices, and it suffices. But yeah, I'd like to just throw out there the way that I think about mining. You know, even though it's 15 cent, I think a kilowatt here. We are providing, security by verifying the transactions for the only blockchain that's encrypted at level 1. So to me, it's the really the only way to mine and have a net positive right now, just because of that fact. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. That's why we were talking about a little bit earlier. You missed it. I was like, well, the hash rate going up is kind of a double-edged sword because you get more security on the network, but then if you're used to getting easy to find DERO, you're kind of losing out on that edge too.
yeah,
But I mean, and that's another thing too. So obviously, Yashnik, you're going to pool, but people who are more interested in, not necessarily more interested, but want to secure the network more would probably want to run their own node, right? Because so the pools essentially is running its own node, and then it's running the pool software, and so it's that one node for X amount of people, right?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
So, I'm saying is the only downside as far as network security goes for using a pool is that there's only one node per pool, right? And then if all those people were running their own nodes, there'd be that many more nodes. I mean, not necessarily a downside because the hash rate's still higher collectively. But
Yeah, and in our case, there's not just one node. There's 10.
oh, so you have 2 pools and then 10 nodes?
No, it's one pool with 10 nodes.
Oh, I thought you said something earlier about having 2 pools. I apologize.
This is one pool. It just works the way they set it up. Whereas every node operator, it's just anyone can pick whatever node, but we do have an address that you can use, and it will mine to the closest node to you. But you can choose anyone if you want it. Yeah, it's geofencing for sure.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much how I was going to set up the DERO Foundation nodes, but right now I'm still syncing up some servers because we had an issue where there was a server went down and I had to fast sync one real quick to get it back up, and now we're gonna go in for some. It'd be nice to have the geo based DNS or load balancing, because that's definitely the way to do it.
Oh, by the way, I don't know why I forgot this, but I made a request to hashrate.no, popular website that you can. There's a GPU calculator, there's a CPU calculator, all sorts of info. It's like Jesus Christ, excuse my language. What to mine? Everybody knows what to mine. This one's better than what to mine, in my opinion. Anyways, I got them to list DERO. They listed it just yesterday.
Oh, cool. So you more.
Yeah, it's if you click on coins, if you're there, you will find DERO. What I'm not finding, and I emailed the guy again, it's not part of the calculators for either CPU or TPU. So I'm just waiting for his reply. But yeah, I'll share the link right now under, let's see, DERO. Here.
So that's you said that was hashrate.no?
Yeah, I just posted the link in the general chat. They have all the info here.
Yet another thing that's popped up in the last couple of days. Yeah. So I guess this talk was pretty good timing.
Yeah. I just reached out to them a couple of days ago. And then they asked me, they came back, well, we need an API. What API to use? That's why I posted in the Discord channel for the official one. So I gave them options. I gave them the official one. I also gave them DERO Community Pools because we have 10 nodes, right? With 99.999 uptime. And I'm pretty sure there's been rough patches in the past, and I'm pretty sure you guys know that DERO Community Pools, the chain was kept from us, right? When the foundation nodes went down. or froze up or whatnot.
Oh! During that that DDoS and chain split that happened at the same time.
Yep.
So you guys were DDoSed as well, basically.
But no, like the chain, you guys used the chain kept going through one of our nodes. I think it was mine, actually, the Germany node.
Oh, yeah. We ended up using the longest chain. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know which one they're using, but they're using something. But it's cool.
Well, luckily that's all taken care of now, though.
Yeah, for sure. But if you're there, you can check out. You got a bunch of information here.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely take a look afterward. I'll take all these links that you provided, and I'll put them in there on the description for the Spotify and for the YouTube, so listening knows that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely, and I'm going to reach out to him because he's missing. They're missing pools. They're missing miners, software.
Right on. Well, that's a lot of good news to just be popping up like kind of out of nowhere for mining. So I'm glad that we had this conversation today because I wasn't even aware of some of these things that have happened. So really cool. That way, if I wasn't aware these things are happening, then I'm sure a lot of people weren't aware. So this is good for everybody.
Absolutely.
I know that you had a hard stop coming up.
Oh yeah, my Maple Leafs plan. I got a few minutes.
All right. So does anybody have anything else they want to add or touch on before we wrap everything up then?
I guess before we do, I just wanted to ensure, did you guys talk about the halving that's coming up and how that may have effect on the mining and the hash rate and things?
No. When's the halving?
We're halfway to the DERO halving right now. So Bitcoin halving obviously is in a few weeks.
Oh, I don't know what you were referring to, Waldo. The Bitcoin halving?
Well, essentially ours, if we're halfway to that one, but I guess we'll touch on that more when we get a little closer then.
That probably won't be for another year, I would imagine. Something like that.
I think it's estimated 2 years out.
2 years, yeah.
But the interesting thing there is something that is interesting about that though, but the Bitcoin halving is every 4 years and DERO halves every 4 years, and they essentially leapfrog each other. So normally when we're about halfway to a Bitcoin halving is kind of peak, I don't know, bear market usually. And then as the halving starts approaching again, then, the market starts recovering again. So there might be something to observe maybe with the DERO halving coming up and being halfway to it. As far as, just it's 2 years away. That's usually when Bitcoin does that, it's usually around the bottom for Bitcoin. So I don't know if we're really going to know how that halving affects DERO in general until we go through it, because with the old crypto node, it was just constantly adjusting, and that's not a thing anymore. So I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud on that part of it. I think we really have to.
I've noticed DERO follow Bitcoin price action a lot. It's very tied to it, at least in the past anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up, but there's some coins that are actually more tied to it, I guess.
Yeah, there's also some coins that when Bitcoin goes up, they basically go down.
For a while, yeah, until they go up. But DERO goes up, usually.
Now, would the Bitcoin halving force some of their big hash rates to start searching for other chains to mine, essentially?
That can happen. You got to look at the price too of Bitcoin, right? And what the expectations are and other people's guesses. And go parabolic, right?
True, absolutely.
And Bitcoin does, it's specialized hardware with Bitcoin too, right? They're all SHA-256 ASICs. So they don't really, I know there's other coins that use that, but.
For example, like people are mining Bitcoin at 25, 30,000. Right now they're all happy, right? But if it hits 100,000 and there's a halving, well, they're still laughing.
Yeah, but then they have a new problem of they have to double their hash rate to continue the same amount, to get the same amount of Bitcoin.
That depends if there's new miners that come on, I guess.
Well, let's just say it was okay, so the reward gets cut in half. So in order to get that, let's just say you have 1 mega hash, you need 2 mega hash to get the same amount of Bitcoin in the same time frame, right? If the total network hash stayed flat.
I'm just looking at it by the value, right? it doubles, and then you have the halving. Well, it's essentially the same as mining it at 50,000.
I get what you're saying.
There's a lot of weird economics that come with the halving.
Absolutely.
It'll be really fun to watch those all play out. I was just wanting to make sure that we did get to talk about it. I was intrigued by it. It had been mentioned before, so.
Yeah, I didn't even have that on my list, but that's a really good point. I don't know why I didn't even think of that, but that is a thing, and that is coming up. I mean, and I know 2 years seems like a long time, but after you've been in crypto for a while, sometimes things feel like they take forever to get there, and next thing you know, you're like, wow, that was, how long ago was that?
Sorry, Waldo, you're kind of new to me anyway. What's your background?
I'm just an enthusiast for the community. Honestly, I mine and dabble with like small little devices, outdated laptops and phones and stuff. But other than that, like I'm just always trying to help whenever the help is warranted and needed. And I love learning about Dero, man, especially mining. Mining was really cool. All the other chains that I had gotten into prior to this chain, there was no way for me to mine, so it was really cool to find somewhere where I could actually go and not be peeing in the wind, so to speak. I had a shot if I waited long enough.
Yeah, he actually did a presentation on mining at Nonsensus last year.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Waldo is newer in the community, but newer is kind of relative at this point, so.
I'm looking forward to speaking at the upcoming Nonsensus this year. I have not decided on a topic yet, but it's going to be pretty fun. I already know it either way.
Going to be in the same location, or are you going to come up in Canada?
We were considering coming up to Canada, but the consensus at Nonsensus was people who came in from up north didn't want to be up north during that time of year. So,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because it's so to give you an idea. I think last year it was about, and I'm going to say Fahrenheit, but it was like 70 degrees Fahrenheit pretty much the whole time. So, and that's in November.
Oh, nice.
So it wasn't super hot, but it wasn't cold either. You could probably still go. Actually, my family did go swimming while I was there, so it's warm enough to go swimming. But it's not like Phoenix can get up to like 120 Fahrenheit, so it wasn't like that. At least, are you going to come this year?
I live day by day, man.
I was just putting you on the spot. I do that to everybody.
I got a big trip at the end of August and September. Actually, I'm going out west for a couple of weeks, so I'd say no. So it's gonna be expensive.
Understandable.
We'll see. Maybe Dero will blow up and be like $1,000 a coin, and all of a sudden things turn.
Hey, Nonsensus tickets are 100 DERO. It's not in US dollars. So if DERO hits 1,000, that's going to be an expensive ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Ouch. Yeah. We'll have to have a talk there, Crypto.
Yeah. No. I mean, if it got that high, obviously we'd have to reapproach that.
Absolutely.
Because that's just insane. I mean, we'd have to hire Taylor Swift, to justify that ticket price.
Get sponsored by Kansas. All right.
Yeah. We could probably buy the venue at that point.
We'd have to go to Kansas.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. Anybody got anything else? I know I keep trying to cut it. It seems like I'm trying to cut it, but I was just making sure that I stayed with the time frame that everybody had available. So,
no, it's been a good talk for sure. Thanks for having me. And like I said, past week been some pretty cool happenings. So looking forward to.
Yeah, that was all news to me.
Exactly. So you do your thing, and community will be grateful for it for sure.
Yeah, and thank you for coming. I know it was short notice. We kind of threw this one together real quick, so it was nice having you here, and we'll do another one sometime soon or in a couple months maybe. We'll talk about community events, and then we'll let the new news that's coming out kind of unfold and follow up on it, I think.
Yeah, and I'll drag Rabbit Mining in. He's not a big talker, but
I was going to say the more Canadians, the better.
All right, cool. No, nice to meet you, Waldo. And 6, obviously. Howdy ho.
Hey, nice to meet you too, man. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. And go Leafs, go.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. And this has been ZeroPoint Module 12. We'll catch everybody on the next one. Have a good day, you guys.